Good afternoon. My name is Sam Green. I'm with Zamma Moldings. We're a molding manufacturer, produces a tremendous amount of different kinds of moldings for different types of flooring and different situations. What I would like to talk to you about today is a flush stair nose. This is actually for a 3/4 unfinished floor. What does it do? What does a stair nose do? Basically, it's going to go on the front of the tread and give us a nice decorative round over there to terminate at the front of the tread. Flush just means that the top of the stair nose, the top of the molding, is going to be level with my floor, as opposed to an overlap. You can see how short this is, so you can imagine that it's not designed to overlap. This offset is here just to accommodate the tongue. If we started with the tongue, then fine. It will fit under. We still get a nice smooth transition and a nice finish, a nice clean finish look. I have gotten questions about why is there no bottom on it? What happened to the bottom of the groove? Well, we make moldings for a great many different flooring manufacturers, and not all of them are necessarily going to put that tongue and groove in the same spot relative to the surface of the floor. So we want to have some flexibility with this, going from one manufacturer to the other, to be able to manipulate up and down so that we don't have what's called overwood. We don't want one side being taller than the other. It in no way compromises the integrity of the floor. Basically what it does is aid in installation, just makes it a little faster, a little easier to get everything as perfect as you want it to be. So there you have it. Now let's talk about expectations. This particular installation is going to be time consuming because where you could really go if you've got a big job and you had a living room or a big kitchen and you're just putting plank after plank after plank in place and putting down a lot of square footage. Think about this. Each piece, almost each piece anyway, is going to have to be cut to length and or width. So we're going to have to go to the saw on every piece. The other thing we have to take into consideration is if you've got, I built these square, so they will accommodate this stair nose. Well, if you've seen stairs put in before, or you've seen your stairs, and they have, even if they're carpeted, you can feel they'll have this bullnose stick out, this projection. Well, basically, we're going to have to cut that off. We're going to have to make the stairs squared off like this. It's not that big a problem. Basically, you're just going to mark the offset and take usually a small 3-inch or 5-inch saw blade. One of the smaller saws will get in. You can do a fine job. They don't throw as much sawdust. And then when you get to the edges, you can use some sort of reciprocating saw to cut it to your sidewall there, and then square it up nice and clean like that. Now what I've done, I've gone in and I have cut my stair nose to fit. So I can check that to see how I like it. Looks good. And now I've got to fill the tread itself. And actually, let's put our riser up so that the lip can cover the riser. And this, pardon me, this riser is just arbitrary. Some flooring I had around, a lot of times it'll be either be the same product as a floor, or what really looks nice is like a white melamine riser here. And this was just as a placeholder. So, but still we've got that in place, looks good. We still have to build this out. Now there's a couple of ways you can do it. I can go in and I can cut each piece and drop it in, or if you want to do something, because each step needs to be treated independent of the other. They're not all going to be the same size. They're not all going to be the same shape. With a small one like this, I usually get away with being pretty square. But you can just take a piece of tracing paper, and you can see I've cut some little windows with my utility knife. I'm going to drop that in place and leave some room. See how I've left room here? All this does is hold this paper in place. And I want to make a pattern. So I can do something as simple as taking a steel rule out of my tri-square, and then I'm going to go through and mark with a pencil all the way around to make that diagram. And basically, even if I've got my walls are out of true, whatever, I'm getting an exact template of this step. And I'll go ahead and do that. I've marked the front earlier with my test piece for stair nose, so I know where that's going to terminate. I'd come in and line that up. And basically, I take this, go to a small section of flooring that I've built, and drop this on the floor. And you can see, like that. Drop it on the floor, take my rule, and I have a chance to look at it and see what I like. If I want to move it to the front, I just move it to the front based on where my steel rule hits. And I take this in place, and then I'm going to transfer my pattern to the floor and cut it out. So, and then I can cut everything at once. So, or at least draw everything at once, and it gives you a better visual if you're like me and you like to see what you're getting. So, but I've already cut it out, and let's move back to the work area. So basically, I'm going to take my floor that I've cut out. I'm going to gently slide it in there because it's going to be, you want it to be pretty tight. I'm going to take the stair nose and drop that in there and see how I like it. And like I say, I can maneuver this up and down. I got a little warp in the floor, but once I start gluing this down, because I'm going to take just some good construction adhesive, I'm going to glue this floor in a zigzag pattern, making sure that I get plenty of glue and plenty of adhesion on this. I want to make sure that this area is clean of dust and debris. I can also go in, this is the time you can go in if you've got squeaky floors or squeaky steps, and put in some screws and remove the squeaks. Although I did have one customer said she didn't want the squeaks out because that's how she monitored her kids coming in. So to each his own. But I'm gonna put this in, test it all out. Like I say, there's gonna be glue in this. With regard to the stair nose, I'm gonna glue it. You've got this much, you've got a huge amount of space here that's gonna get glued and adhere to that. You can also come in if you want some mechanical fasteners. I would pre-drill every so often depending on the length. This particular product will come 94 inches long. So as a general rule, one stair nose will cover 2 steps. But based on how wide the step is, I may put 3 or 4, but I will pre-drill them and put in a small finish nail and countersink it. If you've got air guns, you can come back and put some finish nails in it. You can even go so far, if you were interested, you'll have to pre-drill it with a countersink bit, but you can take and put trim head screws in there. They're very small head screws, so they don't show very much. That's comparison to a sheetrock screw. It's a Torx screw, but with that and the glue, that tread will not go anywhere ever. You want to follow the manufacturer's recommendations on the glue for dry time. And once I've got this set, I want to move on. I come back, I've got another pre-cut riser. I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put a zigzag bead, a good bead of glue on this, press it in place. A lot of the manufacturers will tell you to pull it back to get a little flash time. Then put it in place, and you've got a nice clean fit, and your stairs are done. But treat each one independently. Don't try and cut 3 or 4 stair noses or 3 or 4 pieces at the same time, because there's a good chance that it will not work. So hopefully that will help you. Like I say, expectation up front, realizing that it's going to be a slow process. You are, as a general rule, going to have to special order your stair nose, and that should be part of your expectation. But once you finish, you come out with a beautiful solid surface staircase to coordinate or match with your floor. Hope that helps.